This reading is about the important question of whether your special person, your counterpart, your desired partner will actually get in touch with you again, or perhaps reach out to you once more. Maybe you were in contact just recently. No matter how long it's been, it could have been a while ago. You're asking yourself, will he get in touch again? Will there be contact between the two of us again? Even if the contact was just yesterday or last week, you're still wondering, phew, will he get in touch again? Maybe this has happened several times before. He reached out, then there was nothing again, complete radio silence. He disappeared again with his submarine, vanishing without a trace. And the question for you is also, is it going to be the same again now that he just doesn't get in touch? Or when will he get in touch again? We're tapping into the energy of the present moment, the most prominent energy that wants to reveal itself right now, with the question, will your special someone, your counterpart, reach out to you again? So now we'll take a look to see if there will be contact between the two of you again. Dear ones, you know we're working with the collective. The character cards are gender neutral. This is your counterpart, whether male or female. And collective readings can't apply to everyone. No matter when you watch this video, it is meant to reach you in this very moment. A heartfelt thank you once again for your wonderfully kind comments. And please write to me in the comments if you have any suggestions for a reading for the collective, for a topic, a question for collective readings. I would be very happy to hear from you, and thank you for being there. Thank you for being here. You are so truly wonderful, and I'm sending you lots of sunshine, lots of light, and lots of love right now. So let's take a look at what's going on. I find myself wishing for sunshine, hoping that the clouds will part and allow the warm golden rays to shine down and brighten the day. There's something truly uplifting about the gentle warmth of sunlight, the way it brings a sense of hope and happiness to everything it touches. And now, as I look outside, I can see that my wish has come true. Yes, we have sunshine. The sky is clear, the world is bathed in light, and it feels as if anything is possible under this beautiful, radiant sun. Okay, so well, about the sun. Beautiful, a card of happiness. Oops. And we also have the heart again. You know what? Let's just leave it like that now. We'll take the sun here and add the heart as well. Okay, good. So we'll start now with the sun. So here's the thing, with the sun card for your special someone, it means great happiness. The card of luck, great happiness, is being shown warmth. That's what's going on inside him, but it's also what he's still missing. We're at this point now. Will there be contact between the two of you again? And there's something happening inside him which has to do with the attraction he feels towards you, your charisma. He's embracing optimism. There is something beautiful there. We have memories here, we have thoughts, we have the beautiful things within him or her, and that's what is really occupying his mind. And what is also on his mind, which I find fantastic, is the heart, is love. And here it is. Heart, truly love. There is a sense of constancy. Something is there. It hasn't ended between the two of you. We have attraction, and now we also have affection, warmth. And maybe it was like this, that you have always been very understanding toward others, showing a great deal of patience and empathy, and have repeatedly put your own wishes, hopes, and desires aside in order to support those around you, even when it was difficult for you. As I said, understanding in your heart, and always this back and forth. He may have been called to you and wasn't really operating on a heart level. But now something is happening in his heart. And of course, we're going to take a close look at what it is that's really occupying him right now. Optimism is coming in because something is, he's struggling with something here, because actually after this reading, you could say, well, then he should just get in touch. Of course. Right? Because if everything fits so well here, but there's still something is still dormant. Yeah, and what is it? We go deep. We take a thorough look at what's really going on. Now we have the book. Okay, with the book, there's still something that's not quite ready to be revealed. So there's still a secret. But what I find beautiful, one chapter is closing and a new chapter is opening. But there's still something here, something unknown with him. And we have a secret. There's something is still going on. As I said, it's not ready to be revealed yet. Something is still happening, right? So there's something here where the movement hasn't really started yet, where things are still blocked, because I also see him as quite silent here. Closed off, quiet, and maybe he's also shutting himself off from you. But we're dealing with a secret here. Look. So do you see that? Then we also have the bear. Okay, those are past issues for him or her. Issues from the past. And here it's about his strength, about power. Maybe he kept showing you something different, maybe not really what had to do with his past. Maybe with an ex-girlfriend or ex-boyfriend. And now it's really like this. There's something here that he's really fighting for. Maybe he's showing his claws to someone, or someone is showing their claws to him. As I said, a bit of a secret here. Something is still blocking things here, but basically there's a lot of movement. We have heart touching and heart opening. So let's take a look at what else we can see here. Will he or she perhaps get in touch once again, or will there be any kind of contact at all at some point between the two of you at any time in the future? Yes, he is really blocked. I can clearly see him in a state of blockage. And the showing of claws is definitely visible for some of you on the outside. And yes, I would say, can you even see all of this properly? I'll just move everything up here, please. There we go. Okay. So there is really a lot going on with your special someone. That's absolutely, absolutely, absolutely certain. The issue of the past is a really big topic. That's decisive for him or her. He has always pulled out of the affair, even with you, right? Sometimes he's there, sometimes he's gone, right? Sometimes present, sometimes absent. And it's kind of like a game of hide and seek at times. Basically, he tends to see quite a lot of problems. And he keeps sneaking his way out of them here. It weighs on his mind. The thought of you, the communication, I can already see that here, yes, definitely occupies his mind. But I always see him completely caught up in his own stress, and here he really gets shown some claws. Right? With him, I always sense softness and this, well, this way of making excuses, maybe in a kind of childish way, making light of things, this sort of playful attitude. Well, come on, that's kind of how I always see him presenting himself like that and saying, it's not such a big deal. You'll take care of it, right? Something like that. And also sometimes when it came to serious matters or things that concerned you, maybe even in your communication back then, he didn't really take it seriously or didn't want to take it seriously. And as I said, he would always, as a group, right, sometimes make light of it, which probably annoyed you again and again. And maybe he also always prioritized things that were important to him at the time. Maybe meeting up with his buddy or going to see his parents, his mother, his aunt, or whatever else, something where you kept feeling left out, always boom, pushed aside again. So, and now this just kept going on and on because he was always available. That was great, right? Everything always worked out. But now it's gotten to the point where he was taken advantage of too much, because now the point is, and I'll tell you this, if there was a period when there was no contact between you two, that was important and necessary. Because for him or her, it's now the case that during this time, he really started to miss you. He felt like something was missing. And all the time, he basically didn't have his comfort zone, which was you anymore, right? Maybe you used to take problems off his shoulders. You were always like the planet of happiness, the energy station for good vibes. And now it's like this. You weren't there anymore. For a while, that actually worked out quite well. He was able to distract himself back and forth, and he's really good at that. He's an absolute pro at it. Not looking at his own issues. But now it's gotten to the point where it just kept going, He's being pulled in all directions. He has to do this and here and there and everywhere, right? And above all, he himself was also pushed aside, shoved to the side, and sometimes treated really harshly here. So he was hit from all sides here. So, and then it's like this. He feels just how bad he's actually doing. his situation, what he's letting happen to himself here. And there's still a bit of a barrier, as I said, in communication, yes? But this barrier is also being overcome here because I see you with him and I also see the connection between the two of you. I've got that for sure. Absolutely certain. Above all, I'm absolutely certain that communication will resume. So I can tell you that with complete confidence. It's like this. I see communication also via cell phone. Let's say I definitely see that happening. But I also see that there will be something here that will concern the public as well. So public could also mean that he, no matter if he still lives far away, even if you think, wow, never in my life, something like that is almost impossible. So many kilometers away, there's no way he could ever be at the store or wherever I am right now. Don't worry about it. That's how it's going to be, because all of a sudden, unexpectedly, bam, he'll be standing there. It really could be a store, because I also see the public aspect here somewhere you wouldn't expect at all, where you think, am I hallucinating right now? No, you're not. If you see him, you're really seeing him, and that's how it's going to be. So as I said, collectively, not everything here can be one-to-one accurate for each of you. That first there's this chance encounter and then the contact, but that's what I'm seeing here. That's just how it shows up. I definitely see contact between the two of you again. And above all, I see him too, because he's already looking at the message in your direction. So with the phone in his hand, should I write? Should I not write? Okay, put it away. Because I keep seeing him struggling with himself here, so uncertain, because he doesn't really know how to start, what exactly he should write. And I have this, it's like a little, let me put it this way. He's already trying to sneak his way through this. It could really happen that your phone rings just once, and then you see his number. His name shows up and you think, why is he hanging up again? If you call back and say, you called me, right? Then he'll say, yeah, no, that was a mistake. It wasn't on purpose, because he wants to get a little closer to you. What's going on with you? How are things looking here, huh? But if he tells you it was a mistake, it doesn't matter. It could be a message, a call, anything, or at the store or something that he sees you, right? He says, totally by chance, Kopala. No? Wow, you're here too. Cool. I have him here. I've got it down as an excuse. Well, you could also call it a lie, but I say actually it's a sweet little lie, Yeah, that's what I have. It's just like this because he doesn't really know how or what, And so in this way, with something like this, he'll try to explain himself why it happened like that, right? It could also be that he writes to you or calls you and says, oh, I got a call from you. You say, huh? No, I didn't call you at all. Oh, then it must have been a mistake. And that's how the conversation gets started again. So that's basically the opener, right? Because for him, it's kind of like a barrier, even though he always acts pretty cool on the outside, But deep down, he's actually completely wrapped up in his fears because he really doesn't know, will he get nervous? What should he do? Right. And so he comes up with something like that. As I said, I definitely see contact happening again between the two of you. And yes, it definitely looks good. I see communication happening again. That also means you should really stay completely relaxed, even in your communication. And it means after this reading, I wouldn't bring up something from the past right at the beginning. If you do bring up something from the past, include it in the conversation, but make it a nice memory you two shared. So don't keep bringing things up all the time, not constantly, because then it's just too much. It loses its effect that way. But every now and then you can bring up something nice or funny from the past that you both experienced, as long as it doesn't have a bitter aftertaste. Right? That's the kind of thing that would be appropriate here for you to include something like that. For example, oh, do you remember when we got lost? We were chatting so much that we missed the exit or something, but we still arrived earlier than everyone else. Something like that, Or we totally got lost, took the wrong exit, or ended up stuck in traffic or something. Yeah, or in that restaurant, like, I don't know, maybe you dropped your food or something like that, right? Or that the food was burnt. Just something funny, something nice, a good experience, something amusing. As I said, nothing that leaves an unpleasant or bitter aftertaste, Not too much less is more here as well. And I see the connection is still there, and I even see a personal meeting between the two of you at home. So I can see that very clearly as well, So there's really no question about it. I see happiness. And whatever is still struggling or blocked here, I see it completely changing and healing for both of you. And it's important what is being shown to him, that he really gets hit with the reality from the outside, bam, that it really hits him hard. That people are dealing with him pretty harshly, that decisions are being made over his head, and that even though he always gave everything, especially with some people, as trust, is being taken advantage of, even abused, And here I see this as absolutely right because it makes things really click for him since I do have love for you. I mean, that's what I see in the reading here, you know? So it's definitely there. So from that perspective, it really looks very nice. It could also be that he gets in touch with you now. Um, yes, it could be around midday, something like that. It could be something along those lines, you know, or rather, let me just revise that for a moment. I see that a heart-touching moment where things really get going for him usually happens around sunrise in that time frame up until midday, you know. And it could also be on a Sunday. It's also possible that things are a bit quieter then or something like that. But that's when I see that something really occupies him, when he truly feels that heart connection, and this when he also senses that optimism, the contact with you, when he feels your attraction, when he senses that togetherness and this affection. So there I also see short intervals, you know, that in terms of movement, it's always like a day a week, something like that, you know. It can also be up to a month that we regularly have these short intervals, that he always experiences this heart-touching moment. And this optimism, once he acts and thinks about it, because I always see a bit of a struggle there. But nonetheless, as I said, I see short movements, that something is happening here. And as I said, I also keep seeing these short intervals of heart-touching moments of this warmth and also this attraction to you. And so the topic of the past is really huge here. It's really emphasized a lot. That's for sure. But he is moving into change, definitely towards change. And even if it's not ready to be announced yet, there are still quite a few things he or she needs to take care of for themselves. And then all of a sudden things move really quickly because at some point you might think, wait a minute, he's incorrigible, right? The way he treated you was also hurtful, but for some people at least. But now he's the one being treated hurtfully by his environment, and that hurts him. Now it's really hitting home. It also hurts him that you might not be there anymore, because with him, I sense the burden and I sense the urgency. Things come to an end quickly there. This break, the break from letting others get close to him. And there will also be a quick ending there. As I said, something will happen very suddenly, unexpectedly. And then with him by your side, this sense of togetherness, this wonderful feeling of being united will show itself once again, this experience of truly being together side by side. He wants to be with you and he wants to have this connection, this contact with you again. He wants to build all of this. And he knows that with you, it's possible to create a stable connection, a relationship. So we see some really fantastic developments here. And if we now move into the area concerning contact, whether he or she will reach out to you again. So I really see it happening very suddenly. And this suddenness is emphasized here, again, almost in a double way, really, that it happens quite unexpectedly by chance, maybe in some supermarket, somewhere outside or wherever, just somewhere out and about, that something happens there. But I actually see him more in an observing role, kind of checking out where you might be, you know. So really, this suddenness, as I said, that he suddenly gets in touch and, oops, you called, right? Or, hey, I dialed the wrong number or whatever it is, you know. Yes. And that he will get back in touch with you, that you two will really, truly reconnect, even if, as I said, it's not quite ready to happen just yet. But it will definitely happen. So I see short-term movements here. I really only see this for a short time. And the secret is also, in a way, that he never once told you what was really going on inside him in his heart and mind. And furthermore, that he never told you, not even once, how he was truly being impacted or influenced by the people and circumstances around him at any time. On the contrary, did you ever ask him about it? No, never in your life. You weren't allowed to. That was a very sensitive issue for him, you know. And whether he told you right from the start, I can still see here there's still a secret for Mium, that maybe he told you something different about how his environment treats him, what kind of disasters he might be facing at work, or what's not going well for him at all, or his financial difficulties. I see secrets here, and the secret is still being kept a little bit. Whether he told you right at the beginning what he really discovered here, how he was treated. As I said, I see betrayal of trust here, lies, deceit, things like that. And that decisions were made over his head, and he was simply treated like a little child. As I said, that could be a little bit. Then contact could really happen here on a Tuesday. And I have here 5 to 7 could mean days or even weeks. I don't really want to go into months here because everything seems to be happening very soon, very, very soon, actually. But time, you know how it is. Don't hold me to exactly what time frame I mention here because it's really in your hands. It's just a tendency that's coming through in this reading, you know. So with that, I'm keeping my fingers tightly crossed for you, and I truly wish you all the very best from the bottom of my heart. All my love, and I'm sending you a big hug. Goodbye.